In the modern world, cash is becoming a thing of the past. With the rise of digital payments, a cashless society is rapidly becoming our reality. But what does this mean for us, and what are the implications of a world without physical currency? I made this video here over 2 years ago, and since then I have made about 5 payments using cash total. I haven't really had the need to carry cash with me in that period of time. Simplifying and minimizing the number of items that I carry with me when I'm out and about has always been a goal of mine. It's just logical from a few different points of view, in that that's one less thing to be stolen. It's one less thing that I'm going to forget when I'm leaving my home, and it's one less thing that I have to worry about carrying on my person and have with me. As new technologies come online, the only thing that I'm hoping I'll ever have to carry will be my phone, and that means even removing car keys from that mix. Okay, so keeping that in mind, what should a cashless society look like? In a world like this, physical currency is no longer used, which means all transactions need to take place on a digital format. So think of things like credit cards, debit cards, mobile payments, and cryptocurrency through digital wallets. That is a potential on the up and up. And we are seeing this become more normalized every single day that passes, where contactless payments are becoming much more available in any type of store anywhere, where those stores are getting on board with that payment method, as well as financial services are being stood up to support these types of payments as well, whether it be mobile phone or contactless payments, just to name 2 very specific examples of where the world is shifting. In this type of world as well, we would see the reduction in ATMs and physical bank branches to the point where they may no longer actually be required. Now, one of the more concerning points, definitely worth noting, would be that we would see a greater level of tracking and monitoring of our financial transactions by both our governments as well as the financial institutions which provide that infrastructure for us to spend our money. And I'm going to touch more on that in just a moment. And I guess the most exciting thing about this would be the emergence of new technologies to make transacting more efficient, convenient, streamlined, whatever word you want to pick, just easier in general. And I take it back to cryptocurrency being the kind of space where that is being conceptualized right now. And hopefully, if it actually does take off on the scale that is kind of being promised, it will be a really great way to manage money. Another interesting concept worth noting is that in a cashless society, we would probably see some heavy reform on our current banking systems as well as our financial institutions, because there may be a need for that. And I'd be very interested to see what changes come into play as we shift more into this space. And finally, for the oldies who are watching a video like this, you would no longer have to worry about carrying large sums of cash to go and make a purchase, even though in a lot of different circumstances, people use cash as a mechanism to kind of haggle, bargain, and get a cheaper deal for whatever it is that they're trying to buy. It would definitely be interesting to see how people feel about this, because I know some people who have carried large sums of cash and felt quite nervous about it, but some who like to use cash to make purchases with. Now that I think about it, drop me a comment down below on what you would classify being a large sum of money. To me, anything over $500 would have me patting my pocket every couple of minutes to make sure that what's in there is still in there. Anything above that definitely would be on my mind for whatever activity it is that I'm going to be using that cash for. Now, there is a potential dark side to this story, like I mentioned just a moment ago, being that a cashless society will mean that banks and governments have more access to how we transact on a daily basis. And this effect could be both positive and negative depending on how you look at it. Realistically, our financial security would never be better. However, for those who don't like their information being tracked and used in the form of surveillance, it would definitely be a concern. The increase of data tracking and privacy invasion is absolutely a valid concern. Already across the 21st century, we have seen many incidents where people's information is either misused or accessed without authorization, and this is a bad thing. This is something that we do not like. The other negative aspect of this as well is that people's anonymity would no longer be carried forward through cash payments. They can't say, here's a cash transaction, and I don't need a receipt, I want to buy this thing, and I don't care, I don't want anything traced back to me. With digital payments, there is a timestamp. There is metadata, which is trackable by anyone who cares enough to look close enough at whatever it is you're doing, and this will definitely have implications for many. Another really valid concern, and something that I've put a little bit more thought into now that I've written this video out, is in a cashless society, you lose access to the physical thing. We become more reliant on the digital services that we're using to transact, and that is really scary, because if they fail, if they can't uphold their service that they're potentially supposed to be providing to you, it can be really frustrating or inconvenient if you go to make a purchase and can't actually use that payment system. Whereas with cash, it's a physical transaction. As long as you have the thing and you give the thing to the person, you should get something in return. Another element of this as well would be Netflix. Let's use Netflix as one really good example. You pay for a service, you pay a subscription fee, and you don't get anything physical for that transaction. You just get access to something that exists. If we lose the thing that we earn, the physical element of it, we will basically be paying for a service through our transactions. We will never be in control of our money. And that is something that is very interesting to me and something that I don't know how I truly feel about. To take it one step further, I would also say that in this world, there would be the possibility for unequal access to these financial services depending on what type of group you fit into. If you haven't watched the movie In Time with Justin Timberlake, I recommend it. It portrays the inequalities between those with access to resources and those without in a thought-provoking way. This is an interesting concept, which I might talk about in another video because I don't want this one to go for too long, but it's something that's definitely on my mind, that the day we see, let's call it tiers of how we interact with our financial services, is a day that I would be very concerned, and something that I wouldn't put past those financial services introducing if it meant that their money bags could grow to new heights. Ultimately, a cashless society is a complex issue with both benefits and drawbacks. It is important that we carefully consider and make informed decisions about how we want our financial systems to evolve. However, as the world shifts towards a new method of financial transactions, we as individuals may not have much choice in the matter. It may sound a little bit bleak, but I can't always discuss topics that I believe will have happy endings for the little guy. Sometimes it's going to be grim. And I guess that is pretty much all I wanted to talk about today. So I'm planning to leave you here. If you enjoyed the video, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button down below. And I don't have a lot more to say. So have a good day, have a good week. And as always, I hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.